Welcome to Brainstorm MTG. I'm ELD, and this is Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. Here we have a very spicy list here. Cephalid Breakfast versus Brian. I thought he was going to be on Allurin. All I see so far is Ponder and Volcanic Island. Drawing Cabal Therapy for turn. Going to take a stab in the dark. And gonna guess Sneak and Show. And whiffing there. Force of Will would have been a reasonable pick. Probably would have hedged the bets a bit more. Both Blue-Red Delver, really any deck running Volcanic Island outside of Storm, very likely to have Force of Will in it. But was kind of playing against the worst case scenarios there of Show and Tell. Getting a Mother of Runes down here, and she is taken care of by Chain Lightning. Delver coming in and starts chipping away, and that's what Delver wants to do. Land a Delver early, put consistent pressure on the life total, and Blue-Red Delver is going to look to use some red cards to close the gap even faster. Talking about Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, and Price of Progress, whereas the other Delver builds tend to have more other board control cards, stronger on-board threats. Blue-Red Delver lower to the ground, more one casting cost threats, and a bunch of basic lands as well to get around Price of Progress, but also not to get as punished by Wasteland. Ponder on the other side here, and Narcomoeba is actually looking like perhaps a speed bump here for Delver. Kind of the best that it can do is trade for 3 life, blocking a Delver. Brian fetching up a Volcanic Island. And actually Lightning Bolt, alright, I mean that's about as good as it gets. I mean if he had swung with the Delver, I question that Bolt. He always could go face later. The net impact is 3 damage. Gets through, so that's very interesting. I'll take it. Anytime Narcomoeba is drawing and trading for a card, especially a quality card like Lightning Bolt, I mean that's not bad. Stoneforge Mystic here, a couple of options, either Batterskull or Shuko. Go ahead, grabbing Shuko and casting it, making a 2/2 Stoneforge. That's all you need to do to create a 2/2 threat here. Brainstorm with the fetch land, perhaps the best combo in Legacy, and Brian getting rid of some excess lands. Going to be able to shuffle those away. And the life total continuing to dwindle down to 11. Fetching now no basic lands in this build. Definitely a problem. And I'm going to go ahead and activate Stoneforge to put in Batterskull. Could this be enough? Or does Brian have enough to finish this off? Taking the Force of Will. Seeing Fire Blast. Spell Snare. And I think that was it a Snapcaster? I think this is gonna be all she wrote here for game 1. Cephalid Illusionist can come down and draw a counter. Looks like it would have been better to go ahead and play the Shaman en-Kor and hope for a misplay. So definitely could have played that a little bit better. Magic is played by humans. You generally want to give them a chance to make a mistake, especially when you're playing something like Cephalid Breakfast. People don't necessarily know how to play against it. Price of Progress coming down off the top. That is going to actually end it right there with the Delver swing. Game 1 quickly going to Blue-Red Delver. The Stoneforge package really at its strongest in this type of matchup, where Delver is really trying to put that significant pressure on your life total, just consistently swinging for 3 a turn. When you're talking about a card like Batterskull, it can really undo, of course, that damage with the life gain, but can also control the ground as well if they are have a draw with Monastery Swift Spears or even Goblin Guides, depending on the build. The ability to completely trump all of those, very strong. Of course, it is vulnerable to cards like a Braid. There is a not Shattering Spree. Pretty late here as I record the video. It is Smash to Smithereens. Senior moment. There we go. So Smash to Smithereens, very powerful answer to Batterskull if you don't have the 3 mana. Of course, you cannot mess around all day picking up Batterskull and putting it back down versus a deck like Blue-Red Delver. It's not like a grindy control mirror where eventually it finally sticks and then pulls the game away. They're able to put significant constant pressure, and they have a ton of reach. So every time that you're paying 2 mana to put it out, and then 3 mana to return, and then 2 more mana to put it back out, that is just a massive amount of damage you're taking in the meanwhile. And of course, if they do get your Stoneforge off the board, 5 mana to cast it, largely impossible in this matchup. Pretty close to impossible, I would say. And if you have 5 lands, then the Price of Progress are just straight 10 damage to the face. I mean, that's just... what is it? Thorin's Vengeance. So here we go. Aether Vial. Good card in the matchup for the most part. Gonna get around counter magic. This week's list a little suboptimal in that it's running Shaman en-Kor instead of the Nomad en-Kors in some quantities. Is not ideal. I will be running this next week as well, and hope for good matchups and see what we can do with it. Blue-Red Delver definitely made game 1 look like it's very much in favor of the more streamlined strategy, and Smash to Smithereens taking out the Aether Vial is very punishing. There's Cabal Therapy. Seeing a Braid, another Smash, Snapcaster, Price of Progress, Ponder, and a Scalding Tarn. So whiffed on this first time through, gonna flash back, sacrificing Narcomoeba. A Braid, perhaps the choice here. Still a ways away from Snapcaster being relevant. But it will eventually be a huge problem. And another Cabal Therapy in hand. So the sequencing is also interesting. Nice thing about pretty much all of the creatures in the deck, you're fine throwing them away to Cabal Therapy. It's really not that big a deal. Really, you are a combo deck trying to get this graveyard-based strategy to happen. And there's the Stoneforge Mystic. Either Batterskull or Shuko. Possibly Jite sideboarded in. Likely, almost certainly worth it in this matchup. There's a Shuko. Still going to be able to Therapy and flash it back, sacrificing Stoneforge. Like, Therapy is going to happen first. And Chain Lightning picked up, along with that Price of Progress. So 1 mana off from just winning here. And Shaman en-Kor comes down does have a chain lightning for this. Alright, so one mystery card in hand. Cephalid coming down. No answer to that. Shuko targeting. Ryan fetching a response. Did he find a burn spell? Take this out, or will we be milling the entire deck? Oh, and a smash to smithereens. Oh, that's the worst. Daggers. Cephalid Illusionist on board, but not very useful here. Just a 1/1. Ponder, keeping a bolt. Bolting, getting rid of, actually the full combo was in the top 3 cards there. Stoneforge, this time around, grabbing Batterskull. So it looks like out of gas on the shenanigans route of using Cephalid Illusionist to pull the combo together. Instead now going to try and go with the more traditional Stoneforge route. Brainstorm from Brian. And he will need to answer Batterskull. It's a legitimate threat. Pondering as well. Like he's got a lightning bolt. Gets the Stoneforge out of there, and this is quite bad. Aether Vial, Cephalid Illusionist. There's the Delver. And a Stoneforge off the top. No search, though, so I guess there's no Umezawa's Jite boarded in. I gotta think that's probably not correct. So Vial and Stoneforge activations are possible here. During the end step, put in a Batterskull. Delver not flipping. This is a pretty bad scenario here for Brian. You're going to start gaining some life. Looking like this is actually going to turn around. So he had essentially 3 shatter effects, but Batterskull looking like it's going to get there. Got a lightning bolt in hand. Price of Progress going to become increasingly less attractive as this life gain goes through. This time sending just the Batterskull. Just the Batterskull, okay. So gonna trade gain 4, and presumably Brian's gonna try and wrap this up with some more burn. So a 2-for-1, or kind of a 2-for-none. The Batterskull is still on board and gonna be able to pick that up and put it back down. Pretty rapid succession. Not quite as good as paying 5 to equip it. Will still do. So turned. Narcomoeba coming in. Quite a motley crew of 2-power creatures here. And this is the final turn, unless Brian has some type of answer. Going to be able to activate Stoneforge and put in the Batterskull. And it looks like just a last-ditch surgical just to gain some information. Pretty reasonable line given the weirdness of the deck. Brian taking a look through. Sure he understands what this build is, and we're going on to game 3. So Stoneforge definitely proving its worth. Of course, being able to pull the combo together very strong, but in train wreck scenarios like we just saw, being able to pull out a Batterskull can be good enough. In this matchup, it's actually unclear to me which would have been better to start with. I suppose if they stop your Batterskull plan and then you manage to make your combo kill work, that's probably preferable. Of course, Batterskull is better later because it actually is more of a resilient plan. The more mana you have, if you can actually return Batterskull, you know, if you have 5 mana, put it in. Even if they have destruction, you can return it in response. So I'm not actually sure there. I'll definitely have to get some reps and kind of see how this actually plays out. Depends on if this deck can reach 5 mana reasonably. Swift Spear starting out. And Aether Vial on the other side. So Monastery Swift Spear can team up with cantrips and burn to put a significant amount of pressure early. Ponder. So we've got an Exalted trigger going to be coming in for at least 2. If he's got a burn spell, that'll make it 6. And in fact, it's just 2. So that is a welcome reprieve from massive damage. Brainstorm here. Gonna look at the hand. Does not look like much yet. And a Grim Lava Man. Another Aether Vial. Doing an awful lot of work off of 1 land here. Or at least the potential to do a lot of work. I suppose not that much has happened on my side of the board. Ponder. And that gets dazed. And it looks like Shaman en-Kor ready to get flashed out during the end step, perhaps. Of course, playing around Brian's Price of Progress by being land screwed. Oh, and he swings with Lavamancer. This is a good pickup. Shaman en-Kor able to block and survive versus Grim Lavamancer. That's something Nomads en-Kor would not have been able to do. Losing 2 to this Sulfuric Vortex. And at this point, just need to find... There's a Daze on Aether Vial. Doing all of this off of 1 land. Just need to find Cephalid Illusionist, and this will be over. Activating Vial. Price of Progress. Pumping. There's Grand Abolisher. So 3 power. And can actually redirect with the Shaman. So full range of abilities here. But really just need to find the Cephalid Illusionist. Juko comes down. Aether Vial comes down. Going to be able to assemble a 2/2 here. And Narcomoeba becomes a 2/1. This is actually a really complicated, tight situation. So we're each going to be losing 2 a turn. Snapcaster blows that wide open. Ponder, ooh. I feel like Price of Progress would have just done it there. Price of Progress would have done 4. And then the 2 during the upkeep. So Narcomoeba trades still alive here. Stoneforge. Activated. 2 blockers versus 2 attackers. Not going to be able to gain any life. There's the Jite. Ponder. Very, very close situation here. Gonna be able to keep Shaman en-Kor alive. So he has to... So he swings with both. Can block with the Shaman and the Stoneforge Mystic. And then redirect all the damage to the Stoneforge Mystic. So close. Oh, and smash to smithereens. Fair enough. So that wraps it up. So Brian, with a lot of artifact destruction, able to keep Cephalid Breakfast off of doing what it is intended to do. That's all for this one. If you enjoyed the video, please help grow the channel by subscribing. You'll be notified when we upload new videos like Fast Effect, Double Speed Magic with commentary, or Untapped, our raw tournament gameplay. Thanks for watching.